What's up, everybody? Welcome in to A to Z Sports Picks. Brian and I are going to have a great show for you this Friday. Get you all set up for betting tonight and throughout the weekend. Brian, my man, looking sharp, buddy. How we doing?
Doing great, man. Hope you had a great Christmas. Hope all our listeners had a great Christmas. And we got day games today, tomorrow. It's a beautiful time.
Dude, it is a beautiful time, man. Everybody, welcome in to A to Z Sports Picks. I'm Alan Bell of CBS Sports Line alongside Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. A to Z Sports Picks is brought to you every Friday by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Go to BetMGM.com or use the app. Use promo code A to Z Sports to get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000 on pro football. Yes, $1,000. That's BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older. Must be present in the state of Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. I lost track of the number there. 800-889-9789. All right.
I thought you were looking at the TV and NC State scored a touchdown and I was behind or something.
That's what you need, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, let's jump in first, man. We've got the Orange Bowl tonight. All right. Tennessee, Clemson. Numbers down to around 5.5 here. What do you think, man? I'm gonna throw it to you first. What do you got?
Is it back to 5.5?
It's been bouncing, man. Like it's moving like every 10, 15 minutes, man.
Yes,
like it's going back and forth. Yeah.
I'm actually showing right now a lot of books at 4. Now I know it was 6 late last night. I think a lot of people clearly hit Tennessee this morning.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're right. Mine literally just went to 4 right now. So let me give updated lines as of this second. Clemson, a 4-point favorite. All right, and a total of 61. That's where we sit as of right now. Clemson money line minus 185. Tennessee money line plus 150. That is courtesy BetMGM. All right.
Yeah, and this movement, like 2 or 3 days ago, it had been mostly 5.5, 6, went down to 4, but then it shot back up to 5.5, 6, and it was 6 late last night and bouncing around again this morning. I think a lot of sharp money came in on Tennessee this morning. I agree with it. It's not a big opinion for me, but I did play Tennessee at plus 6. It was either yesterday or the day before. I also played under 63.5. I'm sorry, what did you say BetMGM's current number on the total was?
61.
61. Yeah, 63 is that key number, obviously a multiple of 7. I still lean Tennessee in the under. I prefer my numbers better at plus 6 and under 63.5. First off, Clemson is missing so many wide receivers. Now, in terms of the over-under, they're also missing a lot of studs on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Tennessee is obviously missing stud receivers, and obviously Hooker. And Joe Milton has a huge arm, and he has unbelievable size and athleticism. You just don't know who he's going to throw the ball to. So, I worry Joe Milton could work good for the under in that he's not accurate, but you worry he's going to throw a pick 6 or 2 as well. So, again, my opinions are Tennessee in the under, but they're not strong opinions, and they're even less strong as the numbers have moved. Just real quick, so Miles Murphy, complete stud edge rusher for Clemson. He has opted out along with Trenton Simpson, one of the best linebackers in the nation. And again, they don't have any elite receivers like T. Higgins a few years ago and some of those cats, but they have 3 wide receivers that entered the portal. So they're missing some skill players too, not on the level of Hyatt or Tillman for the Vols, but yeah, Vols and under for me.
Yeah, I feel you on those. I don't disagree with any of them. I kind of really like the under. I think Clemson, you're going to see their offense. It could be a little slow. Obviously, got the young QB in there. Had a great game, to kind of end the season there. But look, man, I think that you're going to see. I think a lot of this depends on Tennessee running the football. Honestly, I think Tennessee's going to want to run the football as much as possible, and they can certainly do it. I can also see some spurts where it's difficult against that defensive line. I think you're going to see a lot of clock burning in between the 30s, right? Like around midfield on both teams. I like the under. My favorite play and what I've already put in on is Tennessee's second half team total over 13 and a half. So we get it under 14. And I think that in any game script, I feel good. If Tennessee's up, they don't really stop. They'll keep going. If it's a tight game, obviously, foot on the gas pedal, go. If they're behind, even more so, right? 2 touchdowns. I think that they could do it. So yeah, that's my favorite play. But I agree with you. The spread scares me, man. Like I like this could be the best bowl game that we have. Like outside of the take the playoffs out. Like this has potential to be the best game. Has potential to be a blowout on either side, right? Like I mean, there's so many ways that this game could go. So it scares me from a spread perspective. That's why I roll with what I know, and I'm going to do it with Tennessee in the second half. Not saying they can't score in the first, but I'm going to do it in the second half because that's generally where you press and you go. So that's what I've got, man. But again, I was talking on Twitter with somebody, and they were like, "You playing the over?" I was like, "No, I lean to the under." I was like, "This game's either going to be 95 points scored or there's going to be 35 points scored." You know, like uh, it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah,
All right.
Milton's a wild card. You just don't
Yeah,
know.
he is. And look, and I don't say it negatively either. Like he could go out and ball.
Sure.
Like I am not anti Joe Milton at all. Or could go out and can't really find rhythm, consistently. And that's where the run game comes in. I'm telling you, I think everything comes down to Tennessee run the play. If Tennessee can run the football with big success and rip off big chunk plays, not saying they do what they did against Vanderbilt, but if they could rip off chunk plays, dude, Clemson's screwed. Like, good luck. Because once Tennessee starts running the football, the pass opens up so much more. And, buddy, you are in big, big, big trouble. But then again, Tennessee's defense, sometimes they can play well. Other times, dude, can't stop a nosebleed. You know what I mean? So that's the difficult part. But, yeah, I'm going to roll with Tennessee there in the second half. Any final thoughts you have on that game?
Go Vols.
I'll tell you what. Who we go for here is Omaha Steaks. All right? Now, fall, winter, in the air, grilling, cookouts, tailgate parties, so much more. Luckily, flavor experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to savor all the flavors with their mouth-watering assortments of perfectly aged steaks, ultra-juicy burgers, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Now, perfect time to load up on all this incredible flavor, Brian, and take advantage. 50% off site-wide by shopping their friends and family sale. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use promo code A to Z, that's ATOZ, at checkout to get $30 off of your orders. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com. Stock up today. Omaha Steaks isn't just steak, Brian. It's the best steak of your life. Guaranteed.
That's right.
And don't forget to score that extra $30 off your order when you use promo code A to Z at checkout. Omaha Steaks, perfect for those chilly and busy nights. You won't come close to getting this kind of quality at the grocery store. Visit omahasteaks.com. Promo code A to Z at checkout. Minimum order may be required. Okay, now, college football playoff. Both games. We've got them tomorrow. All right? Let me give you the numbers here so that we can be accurate. And we're going to get to more college football games. I want to hit the playoff here real quick. All right? So the first game is 3 p.m. Central. We have TCU, Michigan. Michigan, a 7.5-point favorite. Total of 58. Let's start there. What's your best bet? What do you got?
So I'm just trying to be patient because I lean TCU. It's not a strong opinion. I'm confident that we're not going to have to worry about it being a I'm sorry, what did you say the live number at BetMGM was? Did you say 7.5? Okay, that's what I thought. If it were to go to 7, it'll get hammered back up. Sharp money will hit Michigan at 7. So I've just been patient. I'm hoping, and I don't know that it will, but I'm hoping it's going to move to hopefully 8.5, 9, but just a little bit up because I know it's not going to get worse than 7.5. If it briefly goes to 7, it'll get hammered with Michigan money. So I'm just hoping it's going to move. I lean TCU. I think Michigan probably wins a close game. But the Frogs, I mean, I know we talked about it a lot during the season. They had so many difficult games in a row, and I know they were being faded by a lot of people I respect. And I didn't really fade. I might have faded them once, but I'm not saying I backed them every week. But they made me money. They were good to me all year. The K-State second game being an exception. That's when I faded them, was the regular season game when K-State, I was catching points and they were up 17 late second quarter and end up not even covering as an underdog. But and then I took TCU again. Those are the two games I was not successful fading or backing TCU. But I'm looking to back TCU. It's not a strong opinion. Like I'll share my Georgia opinion is very strong. But yeah, looking for TCU. But I'm waiting. I'm hoping and pretty feel pretty good that we'll get 8, maybe 8.5. So that's my deal on this one. I don't really have an opinion on the total.
So I'll tell you what, I do like on the total wise, right? Like spread, I don't want anything to do with it, especially at 7.5. I don't want any part of it whatsoever because I do think it's going to be a tight game. Here's my thought process. All right, under 58, and here's why. I think that Michigan is going to pretty much control this game. I think TCU has had a hell of a season. It's been a long season. All right, I think that Michigan's a tough. They're tough to deal with. Like, and they score quick. I think they scored on their first possession in 11 of 12 games. They scored first. Yeah, in 11 of 12 games this year. They don't
That
mess around. Yeah, go ahead.
can I cut you off? Real quick? That you might have just talked me into being even more patient than I spoke. Maybe I'm just going to wait for Michigan to take a league, and in game, maybe I can get TCU plus double digits. That's probably a better idea. So I'm
Smart
sorry,
play.
sorry I interrupted you.
No.
I think you just talked me into that strategy.
Yeah, no. I feel you, man. Okay, because like that's what Michigan does, and I can see TCU. Not saying that they fold up, like none of that. I mean, it's the damn playoff, right? But the way Michigan goes about you is a lot like they're very similar to Georgia. Like they use their weight and they lean on you, and eventually your legs give out, right? I'm taking the under. I think that Jim Harbaugh is not going to mess around with anything in this game. He's going to run the damn football, and he's going to say, "Look, I've got the number one defense in the country. Like I'm not afraid to punt, right? I'll put you at your 10, your 20, and I'm going to bet that you're not going to consistently go 80 yards on my defense 5 times in this game. Don't think you're going to do it. As long as they don't turn the football. It's a lot like Mike Vrabel. Like when the Titans are rolling, like he uses his offense kind of to set up his defense, to which his defense will then set up his offense, right? Like I'm gonna roll with the under here. I don't think I think Jim Harbaugh is perfectly fine running the football in every single play in this game, and I think there's gonna be a lot of clock churn. I think he's gonna approach it like an NFL coach, which he was. It's gonna be physical. I'm gonna run the football down your throat. I'm going to punt the football. I'm going to play field position. I don't have to beat you 45-30. I can beat you 28-10 and be perfectly fine doing that, right? So that's my approach. Could go haywire because Michigan could score a lot of points, and TCU is here for a reason, but I'm going to roll 58 on that one, on the under. All right, so the next one, okay? Ohio State, Georgia. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern. The spread just went off the table. Like, it just went off the book. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Like I took it off the board?
Yep. Yeah. Legitimately just took it off the board. Total 62.5. We were sitting 6.5. So let's just go with 6.5 for right now. Okay. And I'll monitor here. But let's just go what it was. Georgia 6.5. Total 62.5. Throw it to you. What do you got?
Yeah, Georgia's my favorite play of the entire season. I made the biggest bet I've made of the year on Georgia the day the line came out. They've won 12 of 13 games by double-digit margins this year. The only well, the one that stands out was obviously the Missouri game where, they just completely overlooked Missouri. They were fortunate to get out of there with a victory. They had other games this year where they let Kent State hang around. I think that was only a 10-point game, like mid fourth quarter. They looked terrible in the first half against Georgia Tech.
Hey,
They
don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Just came back. Georgia -6.
Yeah, I had seen on one of my accounts it was down to 6, and I added a little more today. So, look, every single game that Georgia was focused this year, that was had a big game feel to it, which obviously a CFP game does. You think about the Oregon game, 49-3 bloodbath. 2 weeks later, they go to South Carolina, huge crowd, ready to be a factor in that game. Just absolutely spank them, 48-7. You look at the floor, or even Auburn. They didn't play that great in the first half, but they ended up beating Auburn 42-10. They jump on Florida 21-zip, 28-3 at halftime. Now they let Florida, get back in the game, but then they, put them away, win by 42-20. The Tennessee game, Tennessee was on fire. Nobody could stop Tennessee's offense, and I think it was a misleading final. I mean, Tennessee had at least one or two possessions to potentially get a backdoor cover there mid-late fourth. So it seemed like it was a closer game, but I thought Kirby kind of took his foot off the accelerator. Because, I mean, in the first half, it had like a beatdown feel to it, kind of. So, I mean, they only won by 14, but, and then you look at that was a horrible spot at Mississippi State. Starkville at night, cowbells, not an easy place to play, especially when they had Kentucky on deck. They had just come off Florida and Tennessee, and they beat Mississippi State down and cover 45-19. Then they're all over LSU early. What's 35-7 in the last minute of the second half. LSU got a field goal there in the last few seconds of the first half, and LSU probably should have covered. But I mean, Georgia wins by 20. Ohio State, they have played three offenses that have a pulse. That would be Maryland, that would also be Penn State, and that would be Michigan. And those teams scored. Penn State scored 31, Maryland scored 30, and Michigan scored 45. And then you look at bowl game history with Ohio State against the SEC. They had the one win over Alabama and New Orleans. I think it was 42-35 in 2014 in the CFP semifinals. They had that cute win over Ryan Mallett and Petrino. I think it was the 09 Sugar Bowl, somewhere around there. Those are the only two times they've beaten SEC teams in bowl games. And they had to vacate that win over Arkansas, which is irrelevant, but I'll point it out nonetheless. And so they're 2-11 against SEC teams in bowl games. And 6 of those losses have been by 14 points or more. And the real beatdowns have been these natty games against Florida. They lose 41-14. I know that's a long time ago, pretty irrelevant. But just a couple years ago, Alabama trounces them 52-24. LSU beat them for a natty in New Orleans 38-24. SEC teams just pound Ohio State in these games. So like I said, but my biggest bet of the year, -6 on Georgia. A lot of my money's actually at 6.5. But then I like them in the first half, -3.5 or 4. And look, if you can get adjusted lines, now I'm talking about, like, let's say I have 5 units on Georgia for the game. I know I'm getting long-winded here. I'm almost done. Let's say I have 5 units on Georgia for the game. I'm talking like maybe just 1 unit on the first half, and then maybe a third of a unit or a quarter unit on if you can get like -14.5 at like +250 or -17.5 at +300 and change. I'm all about some small bets like that, because I think it's going to be a 3 to 4 touchdown beatdown. In my article on Major Wager, I predicted the score to be 48-20 Georgia. I'm done. Sorry.
Dude, that was awesome. No, look, I agree with you. Excuse me, in your assessment. Like, I'm taking the over 62. I think 71% of all college football playoff games have been 2-score wins. Like, they're a point scored. Georgia is as consistent as it gets. They score 35 to 40 points in almost every game, right? That they take seriously. So I think that they're going to do that against Ohio State. I also think Ohio State's going to score some points too. Might be garbage time points. Might look a lot like that LSU SEC championship game. Or they could be in it. Who knows? But I think that, like, Ohio State will get to 20. Georgia will get to at least 40. I'm rolling the over here, right? Like, I think
get some Georgia though too, AB. Get some Georgia.
Especially at 6. That one's nice. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, I like points to be scored in this game. All right.
Hey, and to any of our listeners, if they do got a money line parlay or a teaser working, Georgia's automatic in that. So
well, I'll say this. I'll say this. You could do a money line parlay right now of Georgia money line, Michigan money line.
I'm not against that.
Not against that. Yeah, it's like -125, -130. Like, I think both of those teams are going to win, right? Like,
me too.
Yeah. So, all right, let's jump to the NFL. I want your best bet. The NFL this weekend. What you got?
Can I do a teaser?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's do it. Oh, well, you know what? The San Fran line has moved so much because I did it early in the week before they benched Carr. But I still like it in a teaser. So is 9.5 the latest line we're seeing on San Fran? Yeah, it looks like it. So I I liked it a lot better when it was -6 and you just bump it down to pick them. But I think Detroit and San Francisco are great teams this week. I think Philadelphia would be. I'm just a little worried that they're going to rest guys. I don't know that they're going to play Miles Sanders. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not. I think it's a given they're not going to play Jalen. I mean, I know on the ticker earlier today it said,
No,
"Oh,
I
we're
agree. I
thinking."
agree with you
Yeah,
completely. I
yeah.
Philly's a stay away from me. Don't want anything to do
Yeah,
with it.
just because of the personnel that I'm worried they're not going to play. That's the only
Yeah.
reason it's to stay away. But yeah, San Fran and Detroit, I think, are good teaser teams. And I actually like Detroit just laying the points. They've been terrific at home lately. They're in bounce back mode. I think we get them in a good spot here. Their last few home games, 34-23 win over Minnesota, 40-14 win over Jacksonville. Could have won the Buffalo game. They easily cover, but lose by 3. They beat Green Bay by 6 at home. They had that tough one against the Dolphins. So Detroit playing really well in general and in bounce back mode. And Chicago just continues to struggle.
There we go. All right. Matter simple. Green Bay Packers roll with a spread. Aaron Rodgers. They've got to win their last 2 games to get in the playoffs. Both games are at home. Aaron Rodgers has won 9 straight home games in the months of December and January. I mean, the dude is on.
LaFleur's never lost in December, has he? I don't
No.
think he has.
I'm going to roll with them here. Look, I don't think that, honestly, that this game means anything to Minnesota to begin with. Now, also said the other side, Justin Jefferson. He's 209 yards away from setting the NFL single season receiving yards record. 2 games left. He averages 115 per game. They're going to give him every opportunity to get this number the next 2 weeks. So I just blindly play his over. I think last week it was 89.5. Like, play it the next 2 weeks. Like, he's going to get every opportunity to do that. I like that one. And then there was one more.
Kelsey?
Denver, Kansas City. All right. Denver just fired their coach, fired a couple coaches here. You've seen a lot of players come out in support of Russell Wilson. I'm playing the over 45 in that game.
Are you buying that support of Russell Wilson?
Well,
Are you buying it?
I'm buying the narrative that there's always a little bit of a little extra juice. Kansas City's going to hammer them. Like, they're going to win the game. But 45, like, I think Kansas City gets to 30. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
So 17 points out of Denver. We cover. There we go. All right.
And there's no motivation concerns with KC, right? Are they tired with Buffalo still trying to get?
Yeah, they're still playing for the number 1 seed. So,
right.
Like,
so we don't have to worry about any resting or anything of that nature.
Nope. They got to go. Yeah, they got to go. All right. 60 seconds or less. Everything else this weekend. Could be college basketball. Could be bowl games. Be anything that you've got going on.
Yeah, so I like Mississippi State and Illinois. They lost their great defensive coordinator. Ryan Walters left to take the Purdue job. They've got 3 first-team All-Big Ten guys that are out. Running back Chase Brown, cornerback Devin Weatherspoon is probably going to be a first-round pick. Safety Sidney Brown. Mississippi State lost Ra Thomas, stud wide receiver. He transferred to Georgia, but wide receiver is their deepest position group, and their studs that have declared for the draft, cornerback Emmanuel Forbes and safety Jackie Matthews. They are going to play. Now, obviously, you got the Leach tragedy, but I think that would probably lead them to play inspired football. But really, it's more about, I think I would like Mississippi State in this game anyway. And Illinois is missing those 3 first-team All-Big Ten guys and their defensive coordinator. I also like Utah. They have a few opt-outs, but I think the opt-outs for Penn State are more important. And Utah, they lost that heartbreaker to Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. They're on fire right now, but I really think they want to get this Rose Bowl win. And I thought of you this morning, AB, when I saw how Rutgers has been killing it at home, but I actually like their under tonight, 142.5. They're under 142.5. It's their highest total of the year. When they've had a total of 136 or more, the under is 5-0, and they are 3rd in the nation at defending the 3-point line, and they are 4th in the nation in scoring defense, only giving up 54.3. I might have gone over a minute there, bud, but there we go.
You're good. No, you're good. I've only got 2. Western Michigan, Wisconsin, basketball tonight. If you haven't watched Wisconsin play, especially at home, it's a meteor shower. They will drain threes on you. Play the over 125. Western Michigan's not bad either. We just need them to get to essentially 55, and we should be sitting pretty there. Next, Zion Williamson, over 7.5 rebounds tonight. Playing against Philly, everybody's going to take Zion points, and I'm not saying don't, but Philly shoots constantly, especially threes, a ton of opportunities to grab rebounds, and Zion will be down there to do it. That's all we got.
Hey,
man.
that over is on fire for New Orleans. 8
Yeah.
and 2 in the last 10, and Zion's been putting up monster numbers.
Monster. Like, the dude's just an absolute beast, man, for sure. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll tell you what, we will be live tomorrow morning, Saturday, 10 a.m. Central. We're going to come at you live before the college football playoff games. We've got all kinds of parlays, stuff set up to get you all set up, and we'll talk some other bowl games as well. But until then, everybody, best of luck. Cash these tickets. We'll see you in the morning.
Go Wolfpack. Go Bruins.